Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into the food culture of Indigenous people in Canada. For thousands of years, Indigenous people in Canada have developed a rich and diverse food culture. Before the arrival of European settlers, Indigenous communities across the country relied on hunting, fishing, and gathering to sustain themselves. These traditional practices were an essential part of their culture and way of life. However, with the arrival of European settlers and the imposition of colonial policies, Indigenous people were forced to give up their traditional practices and adopt European-style agriculture and food systems. This led to the loss of many traditional foods and practices, and the rise of processed and imported foods. Despite these challenges, Indigenous people in Canada have continued to maintain their food culture and pass it down from generation to generation. Today, many Indigenous communities across the country are working to revive traditional food systems and practices, and to promote healthy and sustainable food options. One example of this is the use of wild rice, a traditional staple food of many Indigenous communities in Canada. Wild rice is a nutrient-rich grain that grows naturally in freshwater lakes and rivers across the country. It's harvested in the fall and prepared in a variety of ways, including soups, stews, and salads. Another example is bannock, a type of bread that has been a staple food for Indigenous people in Canada for generations. Bannock is typically made with flour, baking powder, and water or milk, and can be fried or baked. It's often served with butter, jam, or other toppings. In addition to these traditional foods, many Indigenous communities in Canada are also incorporating new and innovative food practices, such as community gardens and sustainable farming methods. So there you have it, a brief overview of the food culture of Indigenous people in Canada. If you're interested in learning more, I highly recommend checking out some Indigenous-owned restaurants and food businesses, or even trying to cook some traditional Indigenous dishes yourself. Who knows, you might just discover your new favorite meal. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.